3 أشهر؟
الصراحة لست
متأكد؟
متأكد. ممكن يعني أرجع بعد الشهر أو شهرين.
لا، خليك 6 أشهر، سنة، سنتين، خليك معنا إن شاء الله.
أهم شيء يعني الحين يعني بعض يعني مشاكل، وبعد ذلك أستطيع أن أقرر يعني
الله يسهل
ماذا
عليكم.
سأسوي.
فهمت عليك. إن شاء الله يكون الأمور أوضح. الله يسهل عليكم،
إن شاء الله.
يكون في عونكم. مرحبا بكم، أهلا وسهلا، أهلا بكم. تفضل صالح. Well, Abdul Qawi is going to read them tonight? He's going to read the questions?
I'll do the time.
You sure?
Yeah, I'm too exhausted.
It might give you some energy, Sheikh.
LaShawn Davis from Lawton, Oklahoma. I am a Islam convert, and I was wondering, why is there certain times for prayer?
طيب. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. Question coming from Oklahoma with regards to a new convert or revert asking about why there's certain times in the prayer. There are reasons behind there being times for the prayer that we know about. And there are reasons behind the times for the prayer that we don't know about. And we know that the foundation of Islam is submission. That which we understand and comprehend with our limited amount of understanding and comprehension, and that which is beyond the grasp of the human mind. So therefore, from a common sense standpoint, or that which we can understand and comprehend as human beings, is the concept of how many times do you eat in a day? How many times do you drink in a day? When do you sleep? When do you rest? Just think about that. Your body needs nourishment. It needs energy. It needs hydration. You have to eat in the morning. You eat in the midday. You eat at night. You have a snack in between, some water, some juice, so on and so forth. Especially if you're active and you're doing things, your needs and necessities of the body. So just think about the soul and the spirit. You wake up, you need to be connected to Allah. Some hours after that, in the midday, noon, you need to be connected to Allah. You need to be reconnected to Allah. Stress, worries, problems, sins, etc. So the prayer is considered to be a means of constant refreshment, constant energy, constant spiritual hydration. As far as the things that we don't know, then Allah Azza wa Jal, He chose to make the prayers 5. And He chose to make them during those times for wisdom that He knows about. But there are many reasons that we know about them, as we just explained. If you look at the 5 daily prayers, it covers the entire day. And it leaves no room for heedlessness and forgetfulness. And then on top of that is Jumu'ah, once a week. Not every day, but once a week. It gives you just enough and a bit more to move and continue being focused. Allah knows best.
Mahima Ahmad from Indianapolis, Indiana, United States. A close sister of mine here in the U.S. had taken out $200,000 of student loans from college days years before she reverted to Islam. And she is struggling to pay these loans since the interest also increases every month. She's wondering if she can walk away from these loans and not pay them, and if she did that, will she be held accountable on the Day of Judgment? She's wondering, since she did that a few years ago, not knowing how destructive it would be, and now it's hard for her to pay. What would you suggest her, Sheikh? Barakallahu feek, Sheikh.
Fikum barakallah. Salams to all disciples in the Midwest and beyond. One way of looking at it is paying back the riba, clearly problematic. You didn't know, person wasn't Muslim, they were ignorant, they didn't understand. That's one way of looking at it. But another way of looking at it is, if you don't pay back what you owe, you don't pay off those debts, those loans, what will happen in 5 or 10 years? How difficult will your life become? How burdensome will your life become? When you want to do something the normal halal way, you may be forced to do it in the riba way, or impermissible way of selling, buying, you don't own it, so on and so forth. Because it's not a discussion of finances and details right now, but riba is not the only problem with the modern financial system today. Is riba from the major sins? Asab al-mubiqat, no doubt. No doubt. Specific punishment for that. But there are other things that are haram as well that happen in the bank. and at school and at your house and your landlord. Many, many things, not just riba. Okay? If you don't pay off the debts now, what will happen in 10, 20 years? And only Allah knows the difficulties that you have to go through when you don't have basic things. So be mindful of that. You may be forced into more debt and more economic nightmares if you don't pay off what you owe now. So my advice to you is, if you have the ability to do it, even if it's a bit hard, a bit difficult, a bit burdensome, seek Allah's permission. It may be best to pay it off, to remove yourself from that system, to get away from it. And then hopefully you can be relatively free in the near future. As far as not paying off the loans, leaving them, allow them to accumulate, to pile up, to amass, that may be a bigger problem for you later on. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala surely knows best. May Allah make it easy for you.
Usama Abdul Rahman from London, UK. Assalamu alaikum Mufti, may Allah bless you. Did you manage to get my question about the grading confusion I had between what Sheikh Al-Bani rahimahullah had said in Nail al-Awta? Jazakallahu khair, barakallahu feek. Allah bless you and continue good work.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Ameen. And you as well. Jazakallahu khairan, Akhil Kareem. May Allah bless all the hadith disciples in London. I'm not sure about that question. Maybe I forgot. Perhaps I overlooked it. You can forgive me for that. If you want, you can repost it tonight and we'll try to answer it if we know the answer. Jazakallahu khairan.
Aisha Khatoon from Liverpool, England. I'm currently working as a teacher where I'm required to mix with the opposite gender. Could you give me some advice regarding this, as I don't know what I can do to avoid this? Jazakallahu khairan.
Jazak, if you're a teacher, you don't know what to do, you're stuck in a situation, you have to have the job, etc. Then, as we said before, with regards to free mixing, quote unquote, or mixing between sexes, there are certain things, as we said, are clearly haram. And we also said there are certain things which are clearly halal. And there are certain things which are gray, or certain issues that could go either of the two ways. And it's subjective and relative on the place, the time, and most importantly, the culture. In this country, this is not good at all. This country is just normal, basic professionalism. Everybody understand this? So that which is clearly halal, no problem. Does Islam prohibit the absolute mixing of sexes? Or does Islam prohibit a certain type of mixing of sexes in a certain place and in a certain instance? Everybody understand this? And that which is in the middle, no man's land, between this alim and that faqih, Saudi culture, British culture, American culture, etc. Everybody understand this? Everybody can understand where I come from in this Western country. It's nothing wrong with not speaking to your coworker. It's fine. Then don't do it. In this country, it's extremely rude to walk past someone who's your coworker and not say hello. Extremely rude. Is there hadith saying that you can't say hi to someone who's your coworker of the opposite sex? See the point that we're trying to get into. So that which is clearly halal, no problem. That's just clearly haram, avoid to the best of your ability. And if you fall short, ask Allah to forgive you and protect you from it in the future. That which is in the middle is going to go back to your relative subject or the subjective look or view. So with regards to being stuck in a situation, then bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, I think how you practice your religion, how you dress, how much of your religion you know, how good and thorough your manners are, and how sharp of a professional you are will have a great impact upon your non-Muslim co-workers. When they know that you're a devoted, practicing Muslim, you're not harsh and violent, nor are you soft. You're confident, you're humble, you're not arrogant, you're not stuck up, and you come to work on time. You leave late. You do extra things. You help out the non-Muslims on their holidays. I'll work for you, no problem. Go do whatever you got to do. You're a good professional, a good asset to the school. That's going to have to give them some type of, it's going to force them to respect you to an extent. Who cares if she shakes my hand? She's the best math teacher we got. Who cares if he can't come and sit and talk about our Christmas party? Look what he's done for our school. So professionalism, sharpness is very important. And explain it to them to the best of your ability. To the best of your ability. If you get stuck, you're too shy, or a hug comes out of the middle of nowhere, or a handshake, and you ask Allah to forgive you, and try to not go back to that in the future. Bi-idhnillahi subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's the best advice I can give in brief, and Allah knows best.
Hassan Saeed, Annandale, Virginia. Assalamu alaikum. May Allah keep you steadfast and sincere. I was wondering, when should one read Al-Fatiha when in congregation, i.e. with or after the Imam?
Who said that you should read Fatiha with the Imam in congregation? If it's an allowed prayer, then I feel it's best to remain silent. Maghrib, Fajr, Jumu'ah, Eid, don't recite. Listen to the Imam's recitation. And in the last two rak'ah of Isha, or last rak'ah of Maghrib, recite the Fatiha. Dhuhr, Asr, a prayer that is silent, recite the Fatiha and the surah afterwards. That's what I feel is best. As far as if a person is on the opinion, that you are supposed to recite the Fatiha even in an allowed prayer, an audible prayer, then it depends. Does the Imam give a pause after the takbirah before the recitation? Does he give a brief pause after the Fatiha before he recites the surah or not? And these are all problems which lead one to conclude or lead one to the conclusion the best thing to do is to listen to the Quran being recited. You can't recite before the Imam unless he doesn't have a sector afterwards. So now you're going ahead of the Imam. Or he gives a brief sector. How fast can you recite the Fatiha? غَيْرِ الْمَغْضُوبِ عَلَيْهِمْ وَلَا الضَّالِّينَ Ameen. Then he pauses for 5 seconds or 10 seconds. And he's reciting وَالشَّمْسِ وَضُحَاهَا وَالْقَمَرِ إِذَا تَلَاهَا. It's conflicting. And Allah knows best.
UW, London, UK. Assalamu alaikum. When rising from ruku, does one rise when the Imam says Sami Allah, or do we wait until he completes saying that and then rise after? Barakallahu feek, ya Shaykh.
Please repeat the question.
When rising from ruku, does one rise when the Imam says Sami Allah, or do we wait until he completes saying that and then rise after?
It depends on the Imam. Does the Imam say it? Does he stretch it out and elongate it? When does he say Sami Allahu liman hamidah? After he's already erect from ruku' or simultaneously? If you know that he's stood up and he says Sami Allahu liman hamidah, it's one thing. If he's doing it while he's moving, don't precede him. Don't precede him. Fear Allah to the best of your ability about when you know he's going to say it. Does he make the takbir? Does he say Sami Allahu liman hamidah before, after, or during? As we have explained. And Allah knows best. Then you act accordingly.
Nuruddin M. Assalamu alaikum. May Allah mention you with the angels. Will the good deeds of the kuffar help them in terms of lessening the punishment, just like Abu Talib? Is this in general or only for him?
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ameen. Wa laka bil mithal. With regards to Abu Talib's punishment being lessened upon him, then this is a specific intercession of the Prophet ﷺ, as the ulama of Islam mentioned. This is from the types of intercession which are specific to the Nabi al-Kareem. That's first and foremost. As far as will good deeds help out kuffar and lessening their punishment, the general rule that the scholars of Islam say is that they will be rewarded with those good deeds in this life. لَيْسَ لَهُمْ فِي الْآخِرَةِ إِلَّا النَّارِ. They have nothing hereafter except for fire. وَلِيَذُ بِاللَّهِ. Now the concept of Allah punishing a kafir who was a good kafir, quote unquote, a good doer. I never raped nobody. I never murdered nobody. I didn't drink. I didn't beat nobody up. I was a normal person, just wasn't a Muslim. And they had the chance to be a Muslim, but they chose not to be. They weren't an oppressor, a zalim to other human beings. Of course, they were oppressing the rights of Allah. Okay. With regards to that, then Allah punishing them like He punishes other kuffar. Say, of course not. They have kufr and those sins and that dhulm that they made and committed to other people. No doubt about that. The tyrants. But their sins being lessened because of their good deeds. That means that their good deeds have a what? Some type of weight. And Allah says in the Quran, فَلَا نُقِيمُ لَهُمْ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ وَزْنًا. They will have no wazn, no weight whatsoever. And Allah knows best.
UW, London, UK. My son said he didn't join the brother next to him because he had sharp toenails and it was poking my son. Is this permissible because of the harm, or should he still join regardless?
If it's harming him, he doesn't have to join the brother. If he can take a couple pokes and stabs for the purpose of implementing the sunnah, jazakallahu khairan. What's important is if it's something that means of adha, the ulama say harm, Whether it's a brother's nails or brother's foot or the structure of your bones, you can't twist and turn your ankles straight like that. La best. It's nothing wrong with that. But you have to have the general intention to make the rolls as tight as possible. The general, sincere intention. Everybody understand this? Also, the brother with the sharp nails, he should be mindful of his nails, implementing the sunnah of trimming the fingernails and the toenails, and also the sunnah of making prayer in khuffain, and the sunnah of making a prayer in shoes. So all from the wisdoms behind that. And Allah knows best.
Shifa E from Munich, Germany. What does it mean to be truthful with Allah?
Question says, what does it mean with being truthful to Allah? That's very difficult to understand, to explain. Because it is what it is. Be truthful with Allah. Let's make an example of it. You walk down the street. If it's a woman or if it's a brother, let's say it's a woman, and she sees a handsome brother, tall, handsome brother walking down the street in Germany, right? She doesn't intend to look at this brother. She saw him. She's not blind. She sees that he's a handsome brother, tall, dark skin, glasses, beard. Doctor, nice looking brother, mashallah, right? Educated brother, right? But she knows that it's haram to lust over him. And she looks away. She fights herself. She's being truthful with Allah. She knows that she saw him. She knows she could have looked, but she fought herself. And then after that, even though she fought herself, she says, astaghfirullah. That's not the same as her looking, gawking, and staring, and then putting her head and saying, astaghfirullah. She's supposed to say astaghfirullah for lusting over the brother, but she clearly saw the brother coming. She knew he was coming. She wasn't truthful. She really didn't try to fight herself. If she fought herself, but the brother was just too handsome, or his cologne was too strong, he was too nice, and she slipped up and she poured herself out of it, then she was what? She was truthful. She slipped up. She was weak. The brother was strong. Shaitan was whispering. That was truthfulness. Not like you just let yourself go. Okay? Or if you have a drinking addiction, being truthful with Allah is avoiding the block where the bar is, or the pub, the tavern. Stay away from it. Be truthful with yourself. Be truthful with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And not strolling and easing down the street in which there's a pub. And you know you have a drinking problem. And say, well, and then you walk into the bar and you get a drink. You weren't truthful. Being truthful is to put your guard up, put your defenses up. Be honest with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Actually want to step away from the sin. Actually want to be far from disobeying Allah Azza wa Jalla. And if you fall, you repent to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But at least you were truthful from day one.
OS, Chicago, Illinois. Referring back to the previous Q&A, is Amazon Prime considered riba?
Question says, is Amazon Prime considered riba? We have to understand something. What is riba? And what isn't riba? If you pay a service for something, you pay a fee for a service, does that mean it's riba? People that say credit cards are haram. Why are they haram? Because you have to pay. What are you paying for? You're paying for a late fee. Are you paying a late fee, or are they telling you that it's riba? They charge you interest on the debt. Regardless of what the interest is, you're paying it because you what? You're late. And you bought something that you bit too much that you can chew off of. Everybody understand this? Regardless of what you're paying, how they make the percentage, you're paying something because of your infringement of a contractual agreement. Everybody understand this? Or you have to pay a debit card. You have to pay a monthly fee. Or keep a certain amount of money in the bank, in your account every month. So the bank is supposed to allow you to use the convenience of the card, buy, purchase, travel, get a hotel, rent this, do whatever you have to do, and they make no profit, and any profit that they ask you for is automatically considered riba. We have to critically think about this. So Amazon Prime, they offer a service, a flat service. You pay such and such amount of money a year, and any product that is under Prime, guaranteed 2-day delivery, as long as it's not from a third party seller, etc. Is that riba? Or are you paying for an exalted type of service? A service that's above and beyond the normal 5-day, 3-day, etc. type of shipping. So we have to think about what is and what isn't what riba. The point that we're trying to make is, or a phone bill. I pay $100 a month and I get what? Unlimited. Data, texting, unlimited. I can stream whatever I want, unlimited. Does that mean that you're paying for something? It's jahala. No doubt it's jahala. You don't know how much data you're going to use. You may use your phone for a day. You may get into a car accident. You may get locked up. You may not use your phone all month, but you pay $100 because you're signing up for a special type of what? Service. So that doesn't necessarily mean that it's riba. Nor does it necessarily mean that it's what? Haram. The problem is our hypocrisy. When this is absolutely haram, and this is absolutely get the unlimited phone. A brother says, you can't pay this money to the bank every month. That's haram. You can't pay a fee for this and that. But the unlimited data is what? Or somebody said you can't eat all-you-can-eat buffet. It's haram to eat all-you-can-eat buffet. Because it's jahala. And the Prophet ﷺ, naha anil bay al-gharar. Naha anil jahala. He forbade a prohibition which is very risky and which is unknown. Whatever I got in my hand, I give to you what's in your hand. That's haram. Why? Because you don't know what I may have a grain of sand and you may have a $100 bill. That's dhulm, that's oppression. Everybody understand this? So that's haram, the all-you-can-eat buffet. You pay $12, you can eat as much sushi as you like. That's haram, you can't do that, brother. But the unlimited data is what? That's okay. That's the problem, the inconsistency in our fiqh and the hypocrisy that we have in our what? Our fiqh. The credit card is haram, the debit card is okay. This is impermissible, but the Amazon Prime is okay. It's impermissible to go here, but it's permissible for me to do that. That's the problem. And that's the only point that we're trying to make. And Allah knows best.
AM Columbus, Ohio. Assalamu alaikum, Mufti. How do you train your nafs?
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. You ask Allah Azza wa Jal is the one who gave the tazkiyah of the nafs. And the one who allowed the nafs to commit disobedience and fujur and wickedness. You ask him. As the Prophet ﷺ would ask Allah Azza wa Jal to purify the soul. Anta khayru man zakkaha. You're the best of those who can purify the soul. Asking Allah for tuqah. Asking Allah for richness of the self. Asking Allah for the supplications of the Prophet ﷺ. Asking Allah to strengthen the heart, to bolster the heart, to purify the heart. Allahumma inni a'udhu bika. I ask Allah to protect you from unbeneficial knowledge, from an insatiable soul. Ask Allah for these things, which are means of defilement to the soul. And then after you ask Allah for them, you have to actually physically put in the work. You have to feel the burning, the burn of sabr. That goes back to the brother or the sister. You know it's a beautiful sister, a beautiful woman right there. Your nafs is calling you to it. Fight yourself. You look up, pull yourself back. Have regret, have remorse. Day by day, step by step. Keep yourself in the company of good, righteous people. Wahakadha. These are always training the soul. And Allah knows best.
Kishan H. from Toronto, Canada. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. Really